You're listening to the Health Courage Collective podcast, episode 18, What to Do When You First Start Coming Down with a Cold. Welcome to the Health Courage Collective podcast, the show for women who are too busy to slog through hours of generalized, inapplicable, and often contradictory health information, but too smart to ignore that a few minutes of focused attention now can prevent years of suffering in the future. I'm your host, Christina Hackett, a pharmacist who doesn't want you to live on prescriptions, a certified coach specifically trained to maximize your potential, and a compulsive learner obsessed with preventative, cutting-edge, holistic, and integrative medicine. I'm on a mission to increase your physical and mental resilience so you can fearlessly look forward to your next 40-plus limitless years. Your time is now. Let's go. Hello, friend. Welcome to the podcast. This week and month has flown by, and I can't believe it's already November. It's gone by so fast, but I do love November. My birthday's in November, my oldest son's birthday is, and my sister's, and there's Thanksgiving, and the ski resorts start opening, and if it snows, I don't have to look at the weeds in my yard, which makes me happy. I'm all about sweaters and soup and cozy nights with a blanket by the fire. But this time of year also often comes with viruses. I know our lives have been ruled by a virus for the past 2 years, so I questioned whether this would even be helpful for people right now. But in my experience, even now, it seems like the vast majority of people who come ask me questions at the pharmacy because they caught a cold and they're not feeling well, start to feel a little something coming on, hope it won't get worse, wait a few days, and then start thinking through what they could do to boost their immunity. What should I take? What should I do? Do supplements even help? What's a neti pot? My proposal to you, as someone who is not normal, is to make a decision now while you're healthy and have a protocol in place ready to rock the second you start to feel a little something coming on. There are, of course, things you can be doing all the time every day that will boost your immunity and help you be less likely to catch what's going around, and more likely to get over it more easily and quickly. We'll talk about those some other time. You can probably guess what I'm going to say, right? Any exercise, especially strength training and high-intensity interval training, intermittent fasting, high-quality sleep, well-managed emotions, specifically stress, even cold exposure like a 30-second blast of cold water at the end of your shower. Louis Pasteur was revolutionary in medicine in the formation of the germ theory of illness and was a big player in the development and implementation of vaccines. On his deathbed, he supposedly said, "I was wrong. The germ is nothing. The terrain is everything." There are a few different versions of this story, but the general idea remains the same. The terrain of your body, how healthy it is at a cellular level, is more important than what germs might be lurking in our environment. There are tons of little things we can do to optimize, and it's fun to talk about. But today we're going to talk about your protocol for after you feel yourself starting to come down with a cold. I have a theory that just being prepared with a plan and confident in your ability to influence your biology boosts your immunity. In any case, it feels a lot better than feeling like a victim. Step 1 is to notice you're starting to feel off early. This requires being more mindful of how your body feels most of the time. If you normally ignore how you feel and mindlessly treat every dip in performance with caffeine or ibuprofen, you're going to miss the chance to notice that something's not quite right. Being in tune with your body and what feels normal is important. There are often subtle little prodrome symptoms that can warn you that something's a little off. It might be fatigue, joint pain, headache, irritated nasal passages, or tender glands. There also may be some metrics you can track that can give you clues. An Oura ring is awesome for that. I love mine. But maybe your joint pain level, blood pressure, or blood sugar can also be early indicators. Mindfulness is not just nice in theory. It's actually valuable. Once you realize you probably caught a cold, don't wait for the scratch in the back of your throat to turn into a head cold that makes it impossible to get off the couch before you start thinking about trying to boost your immune defenses. The first symptoms indicate go time. The earlier you can get started bolstering your body's natural defense system, the better. Start rocking your protocol right away. For this 18th episode, I made a prioritized list of 18 things I think will help you defend against a cold virus, and you can use that as a starting point to develop your own personalized preemptive plan. I'll run through the list here, but you don't need to write anything down if you're driving or cleaning or cooking or walking. Just head on over to the link I'll put in the show notes. You can also find it directly at healthcourage.ck.page. No www, just healthcourage.ck.page. And you can download a free done-for-you guide of these ideas to keep on hand, ready to go, just in case. The number one thing that you can do for your overall health, especially when you're starting to get sick, is to sleep well. I know this is one of those things that people tend to be like, yeah, but what about echinacea? Does that stuff work? But the fundamentals are fundamental for a reason. It's so important. Losing just 1 hour of sleep depresses your immune system. If you're starting to get sick, do yourself a favor and become a sleep prima donna. Employ all your sleep hacks. Black out your windows. Cover anything in your room that emits light. Don't have your phone in your bedroom. Make your room temperature optimally comfortable, a little bit cold. Set a bedtime a little earlier than usual and honor it. It's important. Do not look at a screen for an hour, or better yet, 2, before you go to sleep. Blue light from screens honestly and truly messes with your sleep, but so too does the content of what your brain consumes on a screen before bed, meaning violence, action, suspense. All of that can put your brain on high alert when it's supposed to be winding down. It's really important. No screens before bed. If you have red glasses like blue blocks, wear those even though you're not looking at a screen. Take the opportunity to read a good book or write in a journal. Don't take vitamin C after 7 p.m. or so. It has diuretic properties and you don't want to have to wake up to use the bathroom. If you can breathe well through your nose, consider taping your mouth shut. I've talked about mouth tape before and I still love it, but my buddy, not really, but I'm just a fan of his, Patrick McEwen, who wrote the book The Oxygen Advantage, has come out with a new form of mouth tape that he calls myotape. It doesn't cover the center of your lips. I've been using it every night for the past 3 or 4 weeks since I got it, and I really like it. It's more comfortable and it doesn't make my lips dry and sticky in the morning. Plus, my husband says it makes my lips look like I'm trying to be a luchador from Nacho Libre, so it doesn't get much better than that. I'll put a link in the show notes if you're interested. If you're having trouble breathing through your nose, consider using a Breathe Right strip or a mute device to open up your nose so you can breathe better while you sleep. Consider taking melatonin for a few nights to help you sleep. In addition to helping you sleep, melatonin is anti-inflammatory and antiviral against some viruses. It should definitely be in your toolkit if you get COVID-19, but it also likely helps with other viral infections too. I know that might seem like a lot, but it's worth it, and you really are healthier if you sleep better. Don't forget to take it easy and relax during the day too. Next up, vitamin D. Ideally, we'd all be taking a personalized dose of vitamin D based on our lab results. We want our blood level to be 50 to 80 nanograms per mil. Since the majority of people don't know their 25-hydroxy vitamin D level, we'll settle for guessing until we get more information as we continue to optimize. Most people probably need around 1 to 2,000 international units of vitamin D3 per day. You want to balance your D intake with vitamin A and vitamin K2. Having a good vitamin D level all the time is a good way to reduce your chance of getting sick in the first place. As soon as you start feeling ill, increase that significantly to 15 to 25,000 units a day for a few days. I've heard some functional medicine doctors recommend as much as 50,000 units a day for a few days. Vitamin D is fat soluble, so you can overdose on it, but not in just a few days. Do what feels right for you, but I would say that as long as you don't knowingly have high vitamin D levels or chronic kidney disease, taking 25,000 units a day for 10 days or less is a completely safe thing to do. Vitamin D supports the T cell white blood cells in your immune system. These are the killer cells. And it also helps the signaling between different immune cells. It's a great thing to optimize and a pretty straightforward supplement to take as soft gels or drops. The next thing you can do to really help yourself recover better is avoid sugar. I know, I hear some of you thinking, blah, 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 we've heard it all before. But it's another fundamental that really does make a difference. I've heard that drinking 1 can of Coke can decrease your white blood cell function by 90% for up to 5 hours. You don't want that. In addition to suppressing your immune system by impairing your white blood cell function, sugar feeds bad bacteria, shifts your intestinal bacterial population in a bad direction, and increases inflammation. This deserves much more time, but that's the gist of it. Spend time now thinking through how you can reduce the sugar that goes into your mouth at all times, but especially when you're sick. What low sugar foods do you already enjoy? How can you plan now to have those be your go-tos in the event that you're literally sick and tired? Your willpower won't be at an all-time high then, so think through what comfort strategies you can plan to employ that don't involve sugar. Your immune system will thank you. Interestingly, a small amount of slow digesting starches might help you recover from a virus faster, and a little bit of raw honey for people over age 1 can also be a good thing. Moving on, you could probably guess that vitamin C would make an appearance here. While it does a lot of good things and is good to take every day, it doesn't really prevent you from getting sick, but it can help you get over a cold more quickly. It's a classic for a reason. It supports your white blood cells. When you're getting sick, your body demands more vitamin C than normal. The best results you could get would be from an intravenous infusion of vitamin C. If you're not up for being hooked up to an IV, you can escalate the dose you take orally. The, quote, correct way to do this is to keep increasing your dose until you start to feel some gastrointestinal discomfort, and then back off. Vitamin C is water soluble, so if you overdose, the worst thing that will happen is diarrhea, or as some people call it, disaster pants. Not fun, but no long-term consequences. In fact, this is the best way to make sure you're getting enough vitamin C to make an actual difference. A little bit isn't enough. Decide what you're willing to try. Often people who try this dose escalation experiment get to disaster pants at 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C on a good day, but can get to 25,000 milligrams on a sick day because their body is using up more of it. Like vitamin D, vitamin C is an easy and straightforward supplement to take. You don't need rose hips or rapidly dissolving packets or anything. Just choose what you like. I do like to take a time-release vitamin C sometimes to reduce the number of pills and number of times throughout the day I need to take them. You typically don't absorb more than 250 milligrams at a time, so lots of little doses throughout the day is good. Be careful if you have stomach problems like acid reflux or GERD. Vitamin C can make those worse. And remember, it acts like a diuretic, so don't take it after 7 p.m. or so, or you'll be up to visit the bathroom during the night. Next, I would say, do whatever feels good and has worked for you in the past. What home remedies do you have that seem to work? As long as it's nothing harmful, give it a go. Sleep with a hat on, put VapoRub on the bottoms of your feet, use a humidifier, gargle with salt water, use a deep tissue massager. Whatever is meaningful self-care to you. Taking a bath is a great way to relax, and Epsom salts in your bath can soothe stiffness and increase your systemic magnesium level. This is a good time to focus on helping your body feel comfortable. Number 6, a good thing to add to your illness recovery protocol, especially for upper respiratory virus infections like colds, is to rinse your nose and sinuses. Maybe you already do this. There are lots of options: neti pots, Neomed sinus rinse bottles, Arm & Hammer saline spray cans, etc. If you've never done it, it's an experience, especially if your sinuses go from totally plugged to totally clear in one rinse out. It is gross and awesome at the same time. It isn't an exact science, but I think it's best if you don't do it more than 3 or 4 times a day and not for more than 7 to 10 days in a row. Then have a break. Don't overdo it. Some people use them regularly for allergies and other conditions, but it's good to try once every other day and take breaks sometimes. Separately from this, xylitol nasal spray might help prevent adhesion of viruses and bacteria inside the nostrils. This is awesome for all viruses, including COVID, and one of the first things you can do when you think you've been exposed. The virus very often enters your body through your nose, so xylitol nose spray can be pretty great. The brand name is pronounced Clear, but it's spelled Xlear. Not sure how I feel about that, but that's how it is. Check it out. It's a good tool to use right at the start of your illness or before you become ill if you've associated with someone who is. You can use Clear spray many, many times throughout the day. When you're starting to get sick, you have more oxidative stress and free radicals running around. Your body's endogenous antioxidants get quickly depleted in high-stress states like illness. This is when you really need your body's master antioxidant, glutathione. If you remember from the mitochondria episode, you can take glutathione as a supplement, but you have to be choosy about brands because it's not well absorbed at all. Bulletproof and Pure encapsulations both make liposomal glutathione supplements that actually get absorbed. You can also take NAC, N-acetylcysteine, which is converted to glutathione in your body. Broccoli and Brussels sprouts also help your body make more glutathione. It's good stuff, and I always take liposomal glutathione if I start feeling a little run down. You can take it 3 times a day when you're feeling ill. There are lots of exciting things happening with boosting your immune function with mushrooms. The right ones can boost your natural killer cells and macrophages and fight off an invasion by a virus. As with everything, do your own research and don't just take my word for it or anyone else's. But here are a few products I've tried. One is called Cell IQ Natural Immunity. It has a bunch of stuff in it, including mushrooms. It's made by a PhD doctor local to me here in Utah. I've used it, and it did seem to help. You can follow the dosing listed on the bottle. It's based on your body weight. Another product is called Innate Immune Support by Pure Encapsulations. It also has a bunch of stuff in it, including mushrooms. You take 1 pill twice a day. I've used it too. Probably my favorite mushroom supplement, although those other 2 are still good, is called Immunokinoko. Mostly just because it's funner to say. Immunokinoko. For real, the active ingredient called AHCC is extensively researched. There have been more than 30 clinical trials done on it in mainstream medical institutions like Yale, UC Davis, Brigham and Women's, etc. It's very widely used and recommended by mainstream doctors in Japan and China. There is as much data about it as a lot of prescription drugs. You take 2 to 6 pills a day when you're fighting an illness. It's a good one that I always have on hand in my stash, just in case. A big part of your immune health depends on the status of your microbiome, the bacteria that live in your intestines. There's a lot of talk about your microbiome these days, and for good reason. They do a lot for us and control a lot of what happens to us, even your mood. Nurture your good bacteria all the time, but especially support them when you're feeling sick. Take a good quality probiotic regularly and increase it when you're sick, maybe 2 to 3 times a day for a few days. The good ones are usually in the fridge, unless they're a good spore-based one like Just Thrive brand. Also, feed your friendly bacteria with some good prebiotic fiber like Bulletproof's Inner Fuel. Keeping those little bacteria happy and balanced will do a lot for your health and recovery. You've heard this before too, but when you're sick, be especially mindful about staying hydrated. Drink plenty of non-sugary liquids to keep your kidneys humming along, filtering out the waste from your body, keeping your mucous membranes moist, and loosening up any congestion or mucus you're creating. Of course, if you're having vomiting or diarrhea, be much more mindful of this, including adding electrolytes to what you're drinking. Number 11, zinc can help you get over a cold faster and decrease your symptom severity if you start it within 24 hours of the onset of the cold. So, be fast. Your immune system depends on proper amounts of zinc. You can find zinc anywhere, but taking a lot of zinc can deplete your copper stores, which you don't want. If you can find a zinc and copper combo product, this would be better. Zinc and copper together form an antioxidant superstar called copper-zinc superoxide dismutase. You want this, so consider adding zinc and copper to your recovery supplement plan. In the early 2000s, there was a popular zinc nasal spray that appeared to work amazingly well for colds. But then people started losing their sense of smell after using it, which was a bummer. So now we're back to taking it orally. Or there are some gross tasting lozenges. You can take 15 milligrams every day and 3 times that much when you're fighting a cold. Remember to start it right away. Number 12. Most of the stuff we've talked about so far is good to do all the time and then double down on when you're sick, but you only need to take elderberry when you've been exposed, not for daily maintenance. Elderberries are safe to take every day, but it just seems like a waste of resources. Elderberries have been used for thousands of years as a remedy for cold and flu. We're not sure, but it's postulated that it works because elderberries contain hemagglutinin protein, which has been shown to stop a virus's ability to replicate by inhibiting its ability to penetrate the cell membrane. It could prevent the virus from causing infection if taken right before exposure, and if taken after infection, it keeps the virus from spreading, which reduces the duration and severity of the symptoms. You want to take it at the first sign of illness or exposure to a sick person, like a coworker or family member. Perhaps also when you fly or have been in a large crowd. Studies have shown that people who take elderberry have shorter durations of both cold and flu, which is awesome. It also seems to help with the various coronaviruses. The most common brand is Sambucol. I think they have good quality control. They have syrup, gummies, and lozenges. Take it once or once a day if you think you've been exposed, and 4 times a day if you're sick, starting ASAP. Next, don't do this if you're sick, or very often even if you're not. But if you ever have a large and unhealthy dose of liquid sugar on your plan, which should be extremely rarely, and you come across Rocky Mountain Soda Company's elderberry soda, give it a try. It's my favorite. It's so good. Not healthy though. The Sambucol elderberry gummies are pretty tasty too for a supplement, so it's not an unpleasant treatment. Number 13. I hesitated putting this in here, but it's one of the first things I do personally because I do think it helps. So, colloidal silver. It's gotten a bit of a bad rap from the medical establishment, and for good reason. I have personally seen a permanently gray person when I was doing my pharmacy school externship at the Poison Control Center, and it is not good. It's something I'll always remember. You have to be careful about which products you choose and how you use them. Mostly be cautious about what you swallow. I have several products from a company called My Doctor Suggests. It's created by another doctor local to me here in Utah. His name is Gordon Peterson, and he's a naturopath, but also has PhDs in toxicology, very relevant here, immunology, and biology. 4 doctorate degrees. I trust his stuff, and he says it will not turn you gray no matter how much you take. But even still, I only use it orally very sparingly. He has a topical gel that's my go-to for cuts and scrapes, throat lozenges that are awesome for when you have a cold, and they taste great. My kids love them. He has other stuff like liquids and soaps. Dr. Peterson suggests that you take a tablespoon of his colloidal silver liquid orally 3 times a day for a few days to help get rid of a cold. This seems reasonable. What I usually do is spray it up my nose. I have a little spray bottle that I put some My Doctor Suggests brand colloidal silver solution in with a very tiny amount of sea salt to make it isotonic. And if I ever think I might have been exposed to a virus, I spray that up my nose. If I'm starting to come down with something, I use it several times a day for a few days. You can also put it in a normal spray bottle and spray it into your throat. I think it really helps, and it's often overlooked and undervalued. I once healed my beloved pet chicken, Molly Brown, from an infection called bumblefoot using topical and colloidal silver, so maybe that will give you more confidence in it. It probably shouldn't, but it is a true story. Our chickens had to go live as refugees in a literally 100-year-old coop for a few months, which I very much appreciated the opportunity to do because we would have lost them otherwise. But while she was there, she got a sliver in her previously pampered little foot, and it got infected. I got her all healed up with silver and back to her life of luxury in my backyard. Good thing, because she's the one who lays me my turquoise-colored eggs that I love. Curcumin from the spice turmeric is a good supplement to take regularly and increase when you're sick. It's full of antioxidants that help your immune system, and it's very anti-inflammatory, which is super important. Cooking with the spice is well and good, but not enough to make much of a difference, which is where supplements come in. Most curcumin supplements are not very well absorbed, so you have to be picky. Some brands combine it with black pepper to increase absorption, which it does, but via the black pepper causing a leaky gut type phenomenon, which isn't good. There are a few good products. I take Bulletproof's Curcumin Max a few times a week with food, ongoing, and more, like once or twice a day when I'm starting to get sick, or I break my arm. Hopefully the latter of those two will never happen again, but curcumin was very helpful with that recovery. I didn't need any other painkillers. It was awesome. Next, this is not my area of expertise, but I do like to play around with essential oils. If you have some around, don't forget that they can help. Oregano oil is the first thing I try in a diffuser when I'm sick. It's antiviral, antifungal, and antioxidant. It's not subtle. The whole room will smell strongly of oregano for a few days. Be careful and look up all the details if you decide to take it orally. It has to be diluted first, etc. Eucalyptus oil can relieve congestion when diffused, and it might be antibacterial. Cinnamon oil is antibacterial and antifungal, and it smells really good, so that's a plus. Be careful if you want to use it orally, and only use Cinnamomum verum from Ceylon cinnamon and not Acacia product. Tea tree oil is antibacterial. You can put it in a diffuser or use it to make a cleaning solution for your house, but don't take it orally. I'm sure you can find all kinds of information about all kinds of oil. Frankincense and clove oil might help with immunity, and lavender oil can help promote sleep. Okay, food. We already know that we're going to increase our fluids and decrease or eliminate our sugars and simple carbs. Chicken soup is actually a good thing when you're sick. There have been studies showing that your grandma was right. Any bone broth is good. Ginger, raw or in tea or soup, is a good addition too. Garlic is antiviral, antibacterial, antiparasitic, antifungal, and anti-vampire. Avoid elephant garlic, though apparently it doesn't have the same benefits as all the other garlics. Garlic also boosts your immune system. Add it to your meals, or if you're hardcore, suck on a clove of raw smashed garlic for 20 minutes. Yum. You can also smash a clove and add a little olive oil to it and then spread it raw on something you're going to eat. Intense. One of my very most favorite things, which doesn't deserve to be at the bottom of this list, is an infrared sauna. I only put it at the end because I didn't think it would be very practical for most people. If you don't have a fever and you do have access to one, be sure to take advantage of it. I won't bore you with a long list of benefits like boosting your CD8 T cells and increasing the functioning of your mitochondria, reducing stress, yada yada. Reach out if you ever want me to talk more about saunas because I'd be happy to. Just know that they're super fantastic. I'm all about efficiency and time management, so my husband keeps telling me I should kill two birds with one stone and record these episodes while I'm in the sauna, but I don't think my computer would do very well in there, so just know that I'm not currently sweaty while I'm recording this. Okay, number 18, my last tip for what to do when you're sick is to respect yourself and others. Give yourself the time and space to relax and recover, but also do everything you can not to pass it on to others. Masks are normal these days. Wear one of those. Wash and sanitize your hands. Don't go out in crowds. I believe that thinking of and caring for others is good for your body and your soul. Also employ whatever supportive measures you feel like you need, like Tylenol, Sudafed, Afrin, dextromethorphan, whatever. These will not help you get better more quickly, but it's totally okay to relieve your symptoms too. Whew! That was a lot. Good for you for making it to the end. I hope you found these 18 things useful, and more importantly, I hope you will make a plan ahead of time. You don't have to do all 18. Just pick the ones that feel the best to you. Also, I tried to put them in order of importance, but they're not in the order of what to do first, second, third, etc. When you have your awesome plan ready, you don't have to feel like a victim or wonder what you should do if you start to feel sick. You don't have to wait for someone to give you advice or waste your limited energy researching or wandering the health food store aisles or getting caught up in the latest trend. Just a simple, okay, it's virus time. I know exactly what to do. I'm going to pull up my plan and get started right away. It's not a guarantee how the course of your illness will go, but there's a confidence in taking control of your circumstances and your biology. Most likely, you'll get through it more quickly and with less severe symptoms. Remember to download your free guide at the link I'll put in the show notes. You can also find it directly at healthcourage.ck.page. No www, just healthcourage.ck.page. And then personalize it for you. Keep it on hand for when you need it. Next week, we're going to talk about who's smarter, your doctor or your gardener. Until then, don't be normal. Thank you so much for tuning into the Health Courage Collective podcast. I am truly honored that you have paid me the enormous compliment of your time and attention. I would be so grateful if you would share this podcast with someone you know and subscribe so you never miss an episode. This podcast is for entertainment and information purposes only. Statements and views on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Christina Hackett and producers, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse events by use of information contained herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.